guys, for our next demo, we have Mr. Justin Rogers here of Old South Lures. Justin is very, very active on our Mississippi Trappers Association, especially on our Mississippi Trappers Association committee for the convention. So Justin's going to talk to us a little bit today about trapping myths and some things that we can find out that are actually out there that are factual, and some things that actually out there that are not factual. So, Justin, thanks a bunch for your help in the demo, and take it away.
All right. Thank you, Chip. I'm Justin Rogers. I'm the owner of Old South Trapping Lures. I'm based right here in Mississippi, right outside of Jackson and Morton. And I just want to give you a little talk today about trapping myths. The general public, it doesn't really have a lot of knowledge about trapping. There's a lot of things they've heard over the years that in essence I think are false or not true, and I'm just going to kind of give you a little insight on some things there that maybe you've heard in the past, or things maybe people have told you that may be true or may not be true. So the number one thing that as trappers that we face, the number one question that we hear are, do the traps that we use, they are designed to take the foot off, which that's totally false. When we're out trapping, the main thing that we're wanting to do is we're wanting to catch the animal, we're wanting to hold the animal until we get there and either get the animal out of the trap or dispatch it. I think a lot of these reasons we had this, if you think about when we were kids back in the cartoon days watching Bugs Bunny, when the Roadrunner and the Coyote had these big traps with these big teeth in it. You know, trying to catch the Roadrunner. Of course, he always got caught. Well, we've seen those traps with those big teeth in them for years, and that's what people associate traps with. Now, it's something that's going to harm an animal. Which we know that's totally false. Traps with teeth have been outlawed for several years. Now, back in the old days, the 1800s, there were bear traps designed to catch grizzly bears that had teeth in them, mainly to help hold the bear there longer. But we do not have those nowadays. Those are completely gone. The traps that we have nowadays, their main objective is to hold the animal in a humane manner. So you hear people say, well, don't they break their leg, or they chew their foot off. I do a lot of live market coyote trapping. To me, if I was going to set a trap that was going to break a coyote's foot, it would be totally worthless. I would be losing money. Why would I use a piece of equipment like that was going to render my catch worthless? Especially down here in the South in Mississippi, we don't have the best fur market for coyotes. Out of 10 coyotes you catch down here, you might have one whose the pelt is actually, decent enough to send off to the fur sale. Main thing of what we do is we're catching these coyotes. We're doing a lot of nuisance trapping for farmers, a lot of nuisance trapping for deer camps, and what I do in this live market, we're selling these to pens. People are using these coyotes in these pens to train their hunting dogs for field trials and such as that. So they're not going to buy a animal that's got a bad foot. So that's why the traps we have nowadays, they're designed, they're like a pair of handcuffs, and they're not really going to, they're not designed to break the animal's leg, to cut the animal's foot. Even if you were catching a raccoon or a beaver or something like that, even if you were doing it for the pelt or for the food, a lot of folks still trap for food. I don't know if any of y'all ever eaten any beaver. To me, it tastes like beef. You don't want an animal that's going to be sitting there in pain, that's fighting, getting that adrenaline going, and, tainting the meat, making the meat strong. Well, I said, these traps are designed for 100% to hold these animals until they get there. Of course, I've heard it, well, yeah, you say that, you're not an animal, you're not the one getting caught. I've got a number. This is one of my little boy's traps. I just grabbed this as I come out. Now, this is the kind of trap. This is a number 11 long spring. This is just a basic raccoon trap. I'm just going to set this right quick. Like I said, this trap is designed to hold a raccoon, a mink, a muskrat. I have seen people catch, otters and stuff like that. This trap is not designed, you see, there's no teeth in this trap. This trap is not designed to cut an animal's foot off or to cut an animal's leg. If this trap was designed to do that, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't stick my hand in there. Now that trap's got a hold to me. I'm not going to get out. But that trap's not hurt. You don't see me bleeding. You don't see my skin cut. It didn't break my fingers. That's what traps are designed to do. They're not designed to physically hurt animals. They're just designed to hold them, just like this right here. Like I said, did that hurt? Now I felt a little bit of a pop, but I've hit myself with a hammer a whole lot harder than what I felt, this trap right here. He said, well, that's a small trap. I would do the same thing. I've been caught in traps multiple times. I couldn't tell you how many times I've actually caught myself, not paying attention, making a coyote dirt hole, and actually catch myself, get snapped in the hand. It may feel like a little bit of a twinge, but like I said, I've hit myself out in the shot with a hammer or dropped something on my hand a whole lot harder than what that trap right there really would hurt. Now I'm going to try to get this thing off of me. There we go. But that's a basic trap. So look at my hand. I mean, there's a little dent right there where that jaw got a hold of it and held me there. But my hand's not hurt. I'm still moving. Until you got to think about it. The human skin, our skin is. I'm going to give you a little medical stuff here. I'm a anatomy and physiology teacher in high school, so I know about the works of the human body. Our skin is much thinner than you say an animal. An animal has tough skin. How many of y'all have ever skinned a deer or ever skinned a raccoon? They're a tough-hided animal. Also, they have a layer of hair over it. So when that animal gets trapped, they're even feeling less than what I have. The reason animals fight, or the reason they jump when they get caught, is it surprises them, it scares them a little bit when it grabs them. I couldn't tell you the number of times I walked up, on a raccoon or on a gray fox or something. They're laying there asleep in the trap when I get there. I have to wake them up, to get them out and dispatch them. Those animals, they'll fight it right at first, but then eventually they're going to stop. They're going to lay down. They're going to go to sleep. If you have something on your foot that's, breaking your fingers or breaking your hand or cutting your foot off, you're not going to sleep. So, that's a classic example of what these traps do. There's all kinds of different things. People are going to say, oh, that's an old trap. I can tell you, that right there, that's a strong trap. It might be an old trap, but that trap right there will just about hold anything that got its paw in there. Also, these traps are designed to catch them on the pad. We don't want a high catch up on the arm. These traps are designed to catch them right there on the pad because that's a tougher part. And that's going to get a good foothold on it. That's going to keep that animal kind of still. They're designed for a pad catch. That's what we want is a pad catch. We don't want something that jumps way up here on their arm. That's a good thick. It's soft, but at the same time, you've seen an animal's, coyote or a raccoon or something's foot, that old tough leathery foot, that's going to absorb some of that. So the myth that, we're out there using these traps that are, cutting their legs off, breaking bones, cutting their hide, it's totally false. We just proved it by that. Another, I'm going to get my little pamphlet here. Another thing, that we see is, traps often catch and kill non-target species. That's totally false. Now, there are times where you may catch someone's stray dog, you may catch someone's cat when they shouldn't be in the woods, but as trappers, we are targeting certain animals. We're not targeting, those dogs, we're not catching rabbits, we're not catching birds. We're specifically targeting predators, and the baits and the lures that we're using, that's what they're used for. We're not going to catch every turkey in the woods, we're not going to catch every bird, we're not going to catch any squirrels, non-targets like that. We are specifically targeting the animals that we come by. Now, sometimes you may get a stray dog, because dogs are, of the canine family, just like coyotes. You may catch a dog in a set, but I couldn't tell you how many dogs I have caught. Walk up there, the dog, pop the trap off the dog, and the dog wants to follow me on the rest of my trap line. And that's going to happen from time to time. But there again, these traps are not, they're designed to hold. We're not out there trying to catch every dog. We're not out there trying to catch somebody's house cat. We're not trying to catch, a bunch of birds or rabbits. We're specifically out there targeting a certain species. Like I said, I do a lot of ADC work for people. A lot of these farmers around where I live, they've got cattle, they've got goats, they've got sheep. These coyotes are getting in there. These bobcats about breaking in their game pens, their bird pens and stuff. We're out there specifically targeting those animals that are that were out there. There's a trap now called a dog-proof coon trap. If you've ever seen it, I meant to bring one, but I forgot. It's a little cylinder. It's designed to be set around barns in urban areas. A dog can't get his foot down in there and pick up on that lever, but a raccoon can. So we're specifically targeting raccoon. So the thing about we're just out there to catch whatever, we don't care what we catch, that's totally false. Most trappers that I know are some of the biggest or the biggest fans of the outdoors than anybody I know. And there's people here, here at Bass Pro, and they're all hunters. Hunters and trappers, they spend more money and do more things for the, for the wildlife than any other, non-game or non-trapping or non-hunting agency out there. Our sole, goal is we want to see the animals flourish. We want to get the sick animals out of the herd, so that the healthy ones can carry on and pass on the genes. Grow those big horns on those deer, grow those long beards on those turkeys, have lots of rabbits and quail and such to hunt. So, there again, we're out there just trying to catch whatever non-targets. That is totally false. Another big thing is trapping is a threat to other outdoorsmen. They're a threat to bird dogs. They're a threat to hunters. That's totally false. Where I'm at, if I were to trap any state game or wildlife area, I always wait till I make sure that there's no seasons where dogs are out there. Or if I'm trying to place a trap, I'll make sure that I try to place my traps in an area where I'm not going to catch a dog. A lot of duck hunters, they get worried about their dogs, getting in beaver traps and stuff like that. 90% of the beaver sets are underwater. I mean, a Labrador Retriever is not going to dive down and swim up into a beaver dam, up to a beaver hut and get caught in a conibear. We're not, a responsible trapper. They're not just going to go out there and just string still. You hear stuff on TV where so-and-so dog got caught here, so-and-so dog got caught there. If they would really research that article they heard, and 9 times out of 10, they will find out that the person that set that trap or set that snare was illegally doing it. They were not an ethical person. They were somebody was just out doing something, and they weren't worried about anything. As trappers, we worry about, the animals that we're catching as much as we do about, non-target, people hunting dogs, and such as that. We're not out there just say, I'll catch whatever and turn it loose. So the thing about the myth about, it's a threat to everything else that's out there, that's totally false. One big thing is that a lot of folks say, well, trapping's poorly regulated. That's not true. A lot of states, the trapping laws will have a thicker book than what a lot of the game laws are. There's a lot of states you have to have, a certain size trap. You've got to have, here in Mississippi, we have a 36-hour trap check. I try to check my traps at least every 24. I usually check them before work or after work as soon as I get home. I don't ever go past that 36 hours. Now, some states have 24. Some states have a 48-hour trap check. But, and those people they design their trap line around that. But, as far as regulations, I'm trying to think, there's a lot of states that actually require you to go through a trapping school. Now, Mississippi, we don't have a trapping school. There's a lot of states up north that you have to be a certain age and you have to pass a trapping class before they'll even let you, set a trap. And I think that's good. And they teach a lot of trapping education. The Mississippi Trappers Association, they have their Trappers College every year in November. And the goal of that Trappers College is to educate people about the rules on trapping, about ethical trapping. Teach folks how to follow game rules, where to set traps and such as that. Trapping is regulated just as much, if not heavier, than any other type of outdoor activity. Actually, in Mississippi, and I think in about every other state, every trapper has to have an identification tag on their trap. That way, if something were to happen, somebody were to, put a trap where they shouldn't be, or, you're going to have, there's bad folks out there that are going to do bad things regardless. But every trapper in Mississippi has to have an identification number. You have to go through the Department of Wildlife. You have to get that number, and that has to be physically put on your trap. If you're caught without that tag number on your trap, you're going to get a ticket, and I agree with that 100%. That's cutting down on a lot of these unethical people, because we all know that they're all out there, especially in the world we live in today. So, you know, trapping regulations are, I've got some friends of mine that come down from Pennsylvania every year, and the main reason they come to Mississippi is because they're not allowed to trap otters up there. They don't have the otter population that we do. They don't have the beaver population that we do. So they come down to Mississippi because we have a higher concentration of otters and beavers, and we're able to trap them down here. I know just from listening to them, you know, beaver trapping, I think they can't have out but like any more than 330 conifer bears set at one time. They've got to be, you know, so far away from a beaver hut. They've got to be so many feet away from an active beaver dam. Now they can't even set on those, and those are regulated. The first year they came down here and I was showing them how to set crossovers, they said, man, we feel like we're doing something illegal because we can't do this at home. And the game board will write us a ticket in a heartbeat. But no, down here, because they don't, in those mountains, they don't have, you know, 40-acre beaver ponds, or, you know, they don't have a lot of big rivers and streams running through. Mississippi has no shortage of beavers. Everybody knows that. But up in other states, they do, and they highly regulate that so these animals are not over-trapped, and they keep these animals protected. So, you know, trapping is very regulated. We're going to have some people here from the Department of Wildlife. They're going to be here today. They're going to educate people about the rules and regulations on trapping, and I think that's a great thing. We need to, if we're going, as good stewards of the land, we need to know the laws. We need to know how to follow, you know, the laws to a T to keep that good name out there. It only takes one bad apple to ruin the whole barrel. So that's the reason we need to educate the public. We need to educate fellow trappers that we have sitting around. We need to educate everyone on the laws so that if somebody asks them, you know, about trapping law, they can tell that. In Mississippi, we have to be 100 feet off of a road. That's going to cut down those non-target catches. If you were just going down the road throwing traps out here and there, you might run a chance of catching somebody's dog. But because of that rule, that keeps that from happening. We have to be 100 feet off a public road before we even set a trap up. That's one of those rules that they strictly enforce to keep everything in check. And I think it's a good thing. The trapping is unnecessarily used. It's not a necessary thing for wildlife management, which we know that is extremely false. We've got people here today we've got people here speaking today that are talking about predator management. We've got people here, let me cut my phone off. We've got people here that are educating people on the importance of trapping as a management tool. It kills me. These people will go out, they'll spend $2,000 on a deer lease, they'll plant these big food plots, they'll put up protein feeders, and when they don't believe in trapping. You know, they're fattening up the coons are eating all the protein feed, the coyotes are killing all the deer, the coons are eating all the turkey eggs, but they don't believe in trapping. They're spending all this money to promote hunting what they love, but yet they're missing a key element. I'll give you an example. One year on our little family farm, I made it my mind I was going to trap raccoons. That's what I was going to do. I was going to hit those raccoons hard that whole trapping season because the turkey population had gotten down. Well, I started on opening day. I started in November, and I trapped all the way to the end of February. I don't remember this exactly how many raccoons I caught, but I kept out dog-proof traps. I had some footholds out. I kept stuff out all season. I hammered coons. For 2 years, we had more turkeys hatched out on our farm than we had the whole 20-something years that we had it. I mean, it was nothing to see a flock of 2 hens and 15, 20, young turkeys running around. We had turkeys everywhere. We killed some good turkeys. All those hens, they brought gobblers in. We got to kill turkeys. I went 2 years without trapping that place. In just 2 years of not trapping that place, our turkey numbers was cut in half. And it was a proven fact. I went from riding over there and seeing turkeys every day to seeing turkeys maybe once a week. Hearing 2 or 3 turkeys gobble in the spring to hearing 1. So that told me, that was physical evidence. It told me that raccoons were hampering the turkey hatch. The number one predator on a the wild turkey is not a bobcat, it's not a coyote, it's a raccoon. When a raccoon finds that they're the only animal that will actively hunt for turkey nests during the springtime. I've seen these coons, they'll get downwind on fence rows, and you can see them early morning during turkey season. They've got their nose up in the air, and they're downwind on these fence rows, walking up these fence rows. They're spelling for turkey eggs. You take a pair of raccoons catching, finding, one or two turkey nests a week for the whole, nesting season. Think about how many turkeys. Turkeys lay, 10 to 12 eggs per clutch? If they can catch that hen on that nest, they'll kill that hen as well. So now you got the hen that's gone, and you got 12 eggs that are gone. That's a big dent on turkey population. If they do that over a period of about 5-6 weeks, just think about how many turkeys you would have had next year had that pair of raccoons been taken out. Same thing goes for coyotes and fawns. And we got some folks here that are going to talk about today that are going to give accurate number. I'm not going to give the number because I might tell you wrong, but it's been proven, especially they've done some studies in some high fence areas on coyote predation on deer fawns. It's a proven fact that they will take out, I believe they told me one place they took out 70% of their fawn population was taken out that summer because of predators. So, trapping coyotes, trapping bobcats, and, especially for your deer management, there again, why are you going to spend $2,000 on a deer lease, buy all this seed and everything, and then the coyotes kill all your deer? It's a proven fact that trapping for predators is a efficient wildlife management tool. And that's one thing we're really trying to promote here at Bass Pro today is, a lot of people are starting to realize this. We're trying to show these hunters that, as part of your wildlife management plan, you need to incorporate trapping. Yes, they're predators and prey. They help keep the balance, but when you have an increase of prey, you're going to have an increase of predators. Well, when them predators eat all the prey, you still got the predators. And they're going to start, hammering other wildlife species. So we have to keep everything in check, and that's one thing trappers really, are good about. I'm just going to I got a little pamphlet here. I'm just going to kind of, run through a few things, and hit on these. There's one thing here. Fur bearers are being trapped to extinction. We know that's false. There are more beavers, you can ask anybody sitting here, there's more beavers right now in the state of Mississippi than there probably ever has been. Every creek, every ditch, every farm pond, every river is full of beavers. Beavers do, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of timber damage every year. These otters, they get in these fish ponds, over in the delta, and they just kill. An otter, is the only animal that will actually kill for fun. I've seen otters, come up, kill a fish, throw it on the bank, dive back down, get another one, kill it, come up on the bank, and throw them on the bank. They'll actually kill just for the fun of it. You get somebody's catfish farm or somebody that's got 10-pound bass in there and they get an otter in there, they'll wipe it out. I've seen it happen. We had a catfish pond one time. A pair of otters got in there. I went over there. Before we could get them out of there, they were dead fish, floating everywhere. I even found a bunch of them. All they did, they just peeled the skin off of them, ate the skin, and left the rest of the catfish there. All these fur bearers have to be controlled. You've got raccoons. Raccoons, they carry a wide variety of diseases. You get in these urban areas, they start getting into people's trash cans. They've got distemper, they've got parvo. They pass that along to the family pet. So these animals, their numbers have to be controlled, but at the same time, that's why we have wildlife regulations so that these animals are not over-trapped. What a lot of times, especially with trappers, unless they're a nuisance trapper, they're in there trapping, trying to get all the animals off they're being paid to. Most of the time, they're going to come in, they're going to be in there a week, they're going to take the cream of the crop, they're going to hit the high points, they're going to trap those animals, they're going to pull their traps, they're going to be gone, they're going to leave plenty of seed there, for the next generation. And then they'll come back in next year and they'll repeat it and they repeat it and they repeat it. You're never going to trap, in my opinion, on a wide open area without a high fence. You're never going to catch every single animal there because there's a constant influx. There's constantly new animals, new predators. They're constantly coming in. especially during the late fall, when all these coyote pups, they start dispersing, and the raccoons are starting to disperse. You've got a constant influx of new predators coming in, so you have to stay up on top of it. You have to keep those numbers in control. Let's just look at this pepper here. Fur bears should be totally protected, so there are more animals for all to enjoy. That's totally false. We've all seen, if any of y'all have ever seen a case of distemper or seen a case of parvo, it's a very debilitating disease. When these animals are not regulated, when these animals come in, actually, the less trapping you do, the more likely you are to lose more animals. Mother Nature, she's going to control the animals one way or another, either by trappers coming in or by disease. Why not let a trapper come in where he's going to get, he's going to be able to use that resource versus some animal catching distemper or parvo or some other kind of disease, mange, and during the wintertime, and slowly, and die, or the animal's going to slowly suffer till he dies. So, research has showed, even with deer hunting, we know deer hunters, that they take so many deer out, it improves the herd. The same thing with trapping. We take some off the top. Those real smart ones there that we can't kill, they're there to reproduce and put more predators back into the population. Just a couple of quick. I got just a few more minutes, and my time is going to be up. One good thing here, I'll hit on this: harvesting has no effect on fur bear disease. That's totally false. How many of y'all have ever looked at a trail camera picture where you pull up around a deer feeder and there's 20 raccoons sitting there? Well, if one raccoon has distemper, the possibilities of those 20 raccoons catching it increases dramatically. If you've only got 5 raccoons there, they're more spread out. It's like anything. It's concentration. When you get more animals concentrated in one general area, the possibility of disease spreading goes up, threefold. That's why our trappers come in. That's one thing we do. We regulate the numbers of animals so that the disease doesn't spread like wildfire. And that's the same thing, in the human population. When you have an outbreak of flu virus or stomach bug, what are you trying to do? You try to get away from those people. You try to, isolate those people. It's the same thing with trapping. We're taking out some of those animals so they're not so crowded. So they're not, that disease doesn't easily pass from animal to animal. That's one thing, that trappers are doing. Let's just see here. Anything else that we might want to hit on? And of course, notice the fact right here, disease is not really a problem. Yes, it is. The diseases that coyotes get, that red fox get, that raccoons can get, those diseases can be passed on to the family pet. Rabies. We have everybody vaccinates their dogs against rabies. Raccoons are a very, very high carrier of rabies. And the thing is, somebody said, well, that animal, you're taking the animal out that doesn't have the rabies, and the ones that's got the rabies are going to die. That's not necessarily true. An animal can be a carrier of certain diseases and not be actively infected with it. He could be just carrying that disease, and he goes and bites your dog, and now your dog has that disease. But if a trapper had come in and taken that animal out the week before that, then that disease would have been out of the pool, and the family pet wouldn't have gotten sick because that trapper came in. He was managing that area. He was managing that resource, and he took that animal out of the out of the lineup, I guess you would say. Let's see here. I've seen that we've done all that. Really, I've kind of pretty much hit on all these right here. It says here, trapping is not effective in controlling animal diseases. Only healthy animals are caught. We just hit on that. We're not all the animals. Like I said, all animals, they're carriers of disease. Well, the disease may not be active. That animal is still a carrier of that disease. Just like a mosquito with West Nile virus. that mosquito is a carrot. He bites somebody, and that person gets the disease. Now, and that person done something to, we've seen that, especially down here in the summertime, people take measures against, getting rid of mosquitoes. Same thing that Trapper does. They take measures to get rid of the large population of animals, so that the healthy animals can carry on. It says here, state and governments encourage trapping because they profit from the sales of permits and licenses. That's not necessarily true. Yeah, the state of Mississippi, they're gonna get money, from the sales and purchase of license. But the reason they're wanting to promote this is to get people outdoors. It's to show what a effective management tool this is. I've got an 11-year-old little boy. Now, he loves video games. But now, if I can go in and tell him, hey, let's go run some traps, he'll throw that video game down in a heartbeat. He's on the four-wheeler, he's in the truck. He loves getting out in the woods. He loves going with me. He loves just, being out there. We'll go out in the woods a lot of times. We may set one trap. We may be gone 3 hours. We walk around the woods. We look at different things. We look at deer crossings. We look at, food sources. We're out there in the woods. That's what the state wildlife agencies, that's what they're wanting to promote. They're wanting to promote just, getting these kids outside. That's the thing, we talk about, keeping the tradition alive. And that's the whole point of doing what we do, is to pass this on to our kids. Now, trapping is a dying sport. A lot of people, back in, when the heyday of the fur market, everybody trapped. Of course, when everything's going good, everybody wants to be part of it. But as the fur market has fallen some, a lot of people have gotten out of trapping, and therefore a lot of people have gotten out of coon hunting with dogs. So therefore, it's even more important now for trappers to be responsible, for trappers to be educated, for the public to be educated in what trappers actually do and how effective trapping can be in wildlife management. That's pretty much all that I've got for right now. I want to say I appreciate, everybody allowing me to come. I appreciate Chip and the Mississippi Trappers Association allowing me to come and being part of this convention. Like I said, I'm doing this to kind of have to pass the tradition on. I've got a son that loves to do this. I'm going to be doing it as long as he wants to do it. And I hope one day, that he picks it up and he passes it on to his kid. So I appreciate it and hope everybody has a good day. And y'all be careful going home.